Hi, my name is Rami Rossis, and I am a Palestinian.
My name is Adam Alfia, and I'm an Israeli.
And this is Lines in the Sand.
A honest conversation between an Israeli and a Palestinian.
Yeah.
There we go.
Start off with a hug, always. All right. Because this is peace, love, and respect. Peace, love, and respect. Okay, so episode 2. First thing we want to do is just acknowledge an appreciation for the people that took the time to listen to, what me and Adam are doing here. Me and Adam, one thing we do have in common, I want to point this out just to get it out of the way, is we're both kind of used to talking and being on camera, right?
Yeah.
We're both reality stars.
I don't know about stars. You may be a star. I was a extra.
Well, he was an extra on Love is Blind. Your daughter was on the show, and she got married on the show.
And still is.
Yeah.
Thank God.
How come I didn't cater the wedding? I don't know. But I was on MasterChef 12 years ago. I always tell people I didn't win, but I act like I won, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. And that was a comment that one of my followers mentioned. Like, oh, I know Adam from Love is Blind. So, but we're going to address some of the comments that some viewers left us, because what we want to do is we want to encourage more of you to engage with us. Because the reason we're doing this is because there's a lot of people out there that are maybe new to the conflict, and it's not about picking sides. It's about understanding, why, the Israelis and the Palestinians have this conflict, and how the Israelis and the Palestinians feel on a personal level. And that's what me and Adam are hoping to kind of articulate with this podcast. So the first comment that we got was, and the only reason I'm going to say a white person is because they mentioned this in their comment. They said, as a white person, it's hard for them to empathize with people that are being oppressed. And she made reference to, it's hard to empathize with a black person being oppressed if you're a white person, because you don't live that, right? And it's hard for a man to empathize or really truly experience or know how to understand the abuse that a woman goes through, because at the end of the day, he's a man, right? And so they point out that they really do want to see us work a little bit better in trying to understand the other side. And I think we both do a good job with that. And that's, again, why we're doing this. Wouldn't you agree, Adam? We're doing this to try and understand the other side.
Well, not only understand, but also educate. So I think there's a lot of uneducated people out there that, and I self-admittedly, I was never a big Instagram person up until around 6 or 8 months ago. I started getting on it, and I noticed that I'm only getting feeds of things that are supporting my side. And I've only been on TikTok a couple of times just from videos that people send me. And I heard that's even worse, where these social media platforms, they want you to get hooked and spend hours and hours and hours on their social media platforms. So they're feeding you things that their algorithm says that you follow and you like, etc. So I think a lot of people are getting only one side, a flow of information that makes them very biased and very passionate about their side, because they don't even see the other side at all. A funny story, my cousin has a brother who is a twin brother. My cousin, I'm not going to say it. But he has an identical twin brother who's gay and very liberal. And one night they were at my house, and we were talking about Biden and all the all the goofs that he makes, or gaffes, whatever the word is, and all the mistakes and the the fumbles and the slurred speech and falling down. He had no idea about any of that. All of his social media feeds did not show any of the things. He goes, "What are you talking about?" So it's, it really shows you, and he's a very educated person, but he just wasn't being fed those things from the left-leaning, articles that he reads, etc. And we see it all. And a lot of times, I watch Fox News, and a lot of times I'll flip over to MSNBC and CNN just to see their perspective on things. CNN's got a lot more center in the last 4 or 5 months.
I would agree with that.
But MSNBC is like way off the reservation. But I like to see that perspective, because when I'm questioning about something, because sometimes they'll show something that Fox News doesn't because it hurts their agenda, which, is one of the things that we really don't have a real news channel on TV anymore.
It's all politics.
It's all politics, and it's all, opinion news, where this is my opinion of what's going on. But there really needs to be more of real facts on TV, so you get both sides of the story.
And to that point, I mean, me and Adam and other people that I engage with online will literally exchange stories that are exactly the same but come from different sources. I want to say stories, the footage is the same, the narrative is completely different because of who's posting it, right? So,
And lies. I
yeah,
mean, there's a lot of misinformation where they'll take a picture from 2 years ago and then show that as something that's current. And it could be even from another country altogether, where they show maybe hurt children or a bomb blast or whatever it is, and just regurgitate it as today's news on both sides,
yeah,
maybe.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
then people believe it because nobody does research. And it's even if I wanted to do the research, it's impossible, almost impossible to find out if it's something from today. Or, I mean, if somebody showed me a video of Israelis going in and doing war crimes, as somebody on the left, I would say, oh my God, look at these Israelis. But and even now with AI, where you can
Oh yeah,
generate,
yeah.
where you can actually generate images and videos of people doing something from a still image, I think it's gonna spiral us into even more of a divide.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that I concern myself with, that I worry about people is, I think people on my people, your people, people that are vested in this conflict will take the time to really try and do our best to dig to what's really going on. Whereas, you know, uh, others, an American, any other nationalities, just somebody who's just scrolling, they'll see something that might be fake news or might be 50% real, and they'll assume it's accurate, and
And
they'll
form an opinion.
form an opinion and either hate you or hate me.
Right.
And that's really what, that's what bothers me the most is like it. I will talk to anybody who wants to take the time to listen and do research. I don't have the time or the patience for people that just, are trending or commenting to trend, so again, that's the purpose of what we're doing. And if we're doing a good job, if we're doing a bad job, if you want something specific, just, share your comments with us,
But
uh,
no hateful stuff.
no, yeah, no, this is absolutely not. We don't want that. I mean, honestly,
No, I'm saying, because I mean, for my posts, I get people like, you know, bashing me with, I just delete their comments. But still, if you got nothing else, if you don't want to contribute to the conversation, just don't give us hate speech. Just
yeah,
like I never get on anybody's pro-Palestinian or anything like that, and just sit there, because it doesn't do any good.
no, absolutely, absolutely not. All right, so now we're going to go on to we'll go on to the next comment here, and this is, I guess, more addressed to me. This person in their comment said they're pro-Israeli, but they are interested in learning more about, and this is their words. I love Israel, but I think I want to understand the hatred of Palestine, so I could see why the Palestinian parasites like Hamas get into this so much hatred. So, and again, that's really what we're trying to do, And it was only one episode, so it's really hard. Me and Adam could probably talk, for hours and hours and hours, but this is a conflict that's been going on a long time, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So hopefully, as we talk more about this, you will begin to understand. It's impossible to really explain either side in the 90 minutes we had in episode one. So just, stay with us, and hopefully, as you get to learn us and our people, then this question will answer itself. And I don't want, like, I don't hate Adam. I don't hate Israelis. I really don't. I hate what my people are going through. So I don't even want to really use that word as to why I hate Israelis or Palestine. But there is a hatred in every Palestinian about how their people are living. What's the result
Right.
of,
So whenever I look at a conflict or a situation, there's two things I look at: A, how do we get here? And B, how do we move forward? Because you have to understand, you have to analyze how something got here. No matter, I'm not talking about just this conflict, but
yeah,
anytime you have a situation in your life or business, You have to figure, what do we do? What happened wrong that got me here, so I can prevent it next time. And then 2, where do I go from here? And taking into consideration that I don't want that same mistake to repeat itself. So you have to put in things in place. So when you're talking about the current conflict, and I hear, and I agree, the Palestinians are living in a situation that no people should be living in. But on the same token, you have to look at, how do we get here? Because do we both agree that Israel's been out of Gaza since 2005?
Literally out of Gaza, yes, but controlling it.
It is not. So when people say outside the way, because we got 2 areas, West Bank and Gaza, that's it, right? And I will agree that Israel is currently occupying with military in the West Bank and some settlements.
Okay.
But for the most part, it's military, right?
Yes.
In the West Bank. In Gaza, 0 occupation. We agree?
Literal occupation
Yes.
inside. We can agree to that.
Okay. And we have a border that we intensely that we make sure is secure around Gaza, with the exception of Egypt. We do not control the Egyptian border with Gaza. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and people say, well, you're out of Gaza, but you're in the West Bank. So when we pulled out of Gaza in 2005, we actually removed settlers that were in Gaza, Israeli settlers, removed them, took them out of their home, in their head, that was their home. We pulled them out, and we said, we're pulling out of, and we went back to the 1967 borders, right?
Okay.
And all the Israelis, military, settlers, we left you greenhouses and homes, and we pulled all the Israelis out. We've been out for 18 years. Now, if that's the model, and let's say we say, okay, let's see what happens in Gaza when we leave, and then within a year and a half, Hamas comes into power. It was either them or Fatah, which is another version of the PLO. Am I right?
Yes.
So we left. Within a year and a half, there was a decision for the Palestinian people. Do you want to go with a more moderate Fatah/PLO or Hamas? Now, how Hamas came into power, I don't know.
Well, okay. Just to address
Was there an election?
No, but
they came into power with power.
Well, yeah, I mean that part of the world. I mean, there is no democracy. There's no really, again, there's no structure. It's, and I hate to use metaphors because sometimes it can be a little bit casual. But let me give you a metaphor. It's like Adam. You say let's say you're a home builder and you know how to build a house and the infrastructure and all that, and you have years and years and years and years of building infrastructure. And you say, hey, you know what, Rami? Here's the land. Build your own house. I'm like, oh, shit.
Okay.
Where do I start? Like, how do I? I mean,
So were you in that metaphor? I'm giving you the land to build a house. You expect me to give you the land and show you how to build a house?
No, I guess what I'm saying is, we're not on equal footing as far as like.
In 1948, we were both on equal footing.
Yeah, but you were talking about.
No, I'm saying, but in 1948, we were both there in nomadic areas. Can we agree that, and this is a point of contention, but we have to come, I mean, this is the root of the entire process, or the entire argument is, did Israel or Israelis or Jews take land in 1948, or were they given land and they settled it?
You were given land that you wanted.
What does wanted have anything to do with it?
It's not like the
because
UN. It's not like the UN looked on a map and was like, okay, well, we'll give them, Palestine. I mean, that's the land you wanted, right? Because
Israel is all of Israel.
You had people living there, right? You had settlers already there,
and settlers in what ended up being the Palestinian land. We had people there too.
Yeah, we were sharing. We were living side by side there, right?
Right.
And the point is,
but side by side all over, even in the areas of the West Bank and in Gaza, what is now Gaza. So Jews were in Gaza, and when they partitioned the land, it was required that Jews in Gaza move into what is the new Jewish land.
Yes, but okay. And we addressed this last week, where yes, you were given even though people had
we were given.
yeah
Collectively, you were given and we were given.
that we were taken from and given different. Like
But it wasn't your land.
so you're gonna go. We're gonna have this argument. We can have this argument every week.
But under what pretense do you think that it was your land ever? Just like before 48, it wasn't our land.
Did the Palestinian people inhabit the land?
That doesn't mean it's your land.
Really, it does. I mean, a civilization lived there. People lived there. It was called Palestine.
Right, but like my son lives in an apartment right now. It is not his land. He's renting it.
Okay, but if I went to if I went to your son and I kicked him out forcefully, would that be okay?
Okay, but it's not okay. But Jews in another area were kicked out, and we said, I mean, we moved. I'm sure it was reluctant. I'm sure they have, nobody wants to leave their home.
This is something I kind of
But
wanted.
it was exactly equal. The pains that you guys had moving from your now current land that you're living in, that was under somebody else's rule. Maybe that's the word. Maybe it wasn't British owned, but it was British ruled and controlled. They had the right to do anything. Have you ever heard of eminent domain?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And I'll give you a perfect example.
It just still doesn't make it right for what the people went. It just still doesn't make it right. I mean, if we're looking at the letter of the law, I get what you're saying. It just doesn't make it right.
Okay, but let's move on.
Okay.
But
hold on.
80 years of.
Let me address.
I mean, because you didn't feel any of that pain.
I will never say that I felt that pain because I won't diminish.
Nobody
the pain
alive
that
right
my
now.
People go well
right
no.
now. Nobody alive. There's very, very, very few people that are alive now that were there in 1948.
My grandmother is alive now, and she was there in 1948
as an adult and owned land.
My grandmother.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm saying it's
my
very,
grandmother
very.
is
It's just
93 years old. So how old would she be in 1948?
I understand, but also the Holocaust. We don't.
Okay, can I address one point?
I mean, but just so you know, like Jews as a whole, don't wake up every morning and says, "Oh my God, the Holocaust! Give me my land back that I had in Germany." We get over it and we move on.
So,
but,
Adam, what I think you tend to do, and I'm saying this specifically to you, not to the Israeli. I feel like you're justifying, like in whether our conversations we have here or the little conversations we have chatting online. I feel like every time I try and not to say prove a point, argue a point, you try and one up me in the sense that you guys have 49 Arabic countries. Well, we had the whole. It's not,
but it's true.
But
there are 49 Muslim-controlled countries.
It doesn't diminish what the Palestinian people go through. It's like
go through or went through.
Well, we're still going through it.
Okay, but we're going to get to that. But I'm saying back then, we're talking about 1948. In 1948, it wasn't Israeli land nor Arab land. It was British controlled land
inhabited by Arab Palestinian people
and Israelis.
Yes, but
Jews.
we were living, and here's the thing: we were living together,
fighting. We are. I mean, there were skirmishes all the time.
I mean, there was at that time there was fighting everywhere in that time of the world. I mean, that part. But the point is, like again, hindsight's 20/20, right? And we talked about this last week. If we could see the future, and yes, it would be great to just accept a two-part.
But why not?
Well, I mean, listen, I would love
because every country in the world, every single country from the U.S. to Mexico to Australia to every single piece of land on Earth that's inhabited right now was inhabited by some other people at some point. And Israel and Palestinians are the only one in conflict over there. The only one. Name one other country that is still saying, maybe the American Indians are the ones that still, we gave them casinos and here you go, get your casinos. But other than that, name me one other people that is currently in the world that brings up the point from 75, 80 years ago about my land being taken over, or even 200 years ago.
Because here's the thing, Adam, 75, 80 years ago, people are still alive from that.
I understand.
And then it's a history of things getting worse, not better. So how are you supposed to forget?
Because you just told me that 50% of the people in Palestine, in Gaza are under, we read that article earlier that had the statistics about Gaza, are more than 50% are under the age of 18.
Well, yeah, I mean, in Gaza, yeah. But the point is...
So 20 years from now, when all those people
listen,
pass, there won't be an
how are
Alfia?
they raised? How are they, a child is born in Gaza a year ago, or no, they're too young to understand.
And we're
No,
gonna
no,
get,
hold on a
and
second.
we're gonna talk.
So-
We're gonna get to the. I'm talking about. Let's concentrate on 1948. Why do you guys think that that was your land and we deserved none of it? When the
I
UN
personally don't say you deserve none of it.
So what do we deserve?
I just say you're giving to one.
I'm saying
and
we
taking
go
from the other.
We have a magic time machine. We go back to 1947 when the UN first brought up the British mandate, and you're in the UN.
So that British mandate was, I believe, it was part of the Rothschild. What's his name?
Herzl.
No. The point is, it was part of the Zionist movement, right? The Zionist movement wanted a homeland, and the Zionists were constantly petitioning
since the late 1900s,
late
1800s,
1800s, right?
Right.
So there was a
1897.
There was a movement. It's and I'll get the facts straight here, but there was before the Balfour Declaration, there was numerous meetings between the British and the Zionist movement about partitioning the land, and never once did they ever include. No Palestinians were involved in any conversation about divvying.
How do you know that?
I mean, I read that. That's the article in and we can share the article too. This is from the BBC. It's a report that basically it's a article that.
I told you about a thing about the BBC.
Well, I mean, hey, but here's it. The British, they're the ones who they did this.
Okay, but either way, no matter how corrupt or ill-willed or one-sided the British were, let's say they loved the Israelis and hated the Arabs. No, even if that's the case, it's their land to divide it how they see fit.
I get that, but
yes or no?
But I want to.
Yes or no? It was their decision. We did not make them do anything. Now, even if and I'm not aware of this, but even if we had their ear and they finally said, this is how we're going to divide it up, was it their right to do so?
Again, letter of the law, you're right.
Okay. So, I mean, we're talking about right and wrong versus legality.
Okay. I want to address the comment that the viewer left. Turn it around, Adam. Let's just say it was the other way around.
I promise you, if we would have gotten Gaza and the West Bank, it would be the same thing that Israel is now in a different part of the world, in a different part of the area. So why does it matter where we are? The Jews have always thrived everywhere they've gone. Everywhere. You put us in America, we'll thrive. You put us in Mexico, we'll thrive. You put us in... we were in a desert, in a barren desert, and we made a sprouting metropolis that has, per capita, more Nobel Peace Prize winners, more technology, more patents than anywhere in the world. I recommend anybody that's listen to Startup Nation. Great book about why Israel produces so much technology, medicine, etc. But we did it from the desert.
But you also did it at the expense of a people.
What are you talking about?
I mean, you can't dispute the fact that they were there and we were. I mean, we don't create these things because we're in this land versus that land. No. I'm saying is, again, how can you dispute the fact that the Palestinians were kicked out of their homes? It wasn't something we agreed to. The Palestinians did not want to give up land and their homes and be told that you have to go here and there.
Nobody does. But that's reality.
Okay.
I mean, do you see people coming across the border right now from Venezuela? It's a communist regime.
Yeah, but they're not coming over to turn it into Venezuela. They're coming over to live amongst.
Well, I mean, if you want to, open up that subject, I mean, there are a lot of Muslims that come into America, Europe, and to turn it into, they want Sharia law.
Oh no!
I mean, that's true.
No,
that's not true.
No,
there are no Muslims in Arlington. I'll send you an article about 8 years ago that a group of Muslims wanted to have Sharia law in Arlington.
Okay, Adam, I can say. I mean, there's probably still Nazis out there, right? There probably are, right? I mean exactly. The point is,
I mean, they're not part of the Nazi party.
No, but the point is, I mean, there's white supremacists. There's Shiite law. There's Nazis. All these people exist if I go looking for them. But I mean. I didn't know nothing about, and I'm a Muslim. I don't know anything about trying to, create Shiite law in Arlington, but there could be a group there. Yeah. But I mean, again,
Muslims.
There's white radicals.
I
There's
know, but there's a lot of Muslims that don't assimilate in countries where they go to because they're so tied to their religion. They're very.
no. So this is
I mean,
another
in
point.
Europe,
This is another point of contention. This has nothing to do with religion, Adam.
it has
No,
everything.
no. This has nothing to do with religion, and maybe this can help us segue into.
How does it not have to do with religion? They yell Allah Akbar before they kill people. I mean, maybe not your
Dude,
religion.
no, no,
The
no.
reli-
My,
not,
no,
not,
listen,
not
hold on
what
a
you
second.
believe.
Allahu Akbar has been given a different meaning when you just use it in the form of a terrorist. You know,
But
Allah,
by who?
God. Listen, I say Allahu Akbar all the time. It doesn't mean I hate you. You can't speak.
I mean, it means God is great. It's a great
God
saying.
is great. Yes. I mean, I have faith with me all the time. Before I eat, I say Bismillah. Okay. You could, I mean, a terrorist might say Bismillah before he kills somebody. You don't take things and turn them against people. I mean, just like
I'm not turning it against
no,
people.
you say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar means God is great. And you know what? God
course
is
it is.
great.
Of course.
It doesn't mean God is great. Kill the Jew.
Okay, ask any American when they hear that, they don't know what it means.
Why? Why do they think it? Because of the perception. This is what we're trying to educate, right? Yeah,
I understand.
I get it. If a guy walking down the street and I'm having a conversation with my Arab friend and we're talking and they say something, I'm like, oh my God, Allahu Akbar, and I say it in a certain way. Yeah, it might freak out the white guy, but you know what? Hey, white guy, go get educated. Okay, and that's
one of the problems is right now.
Yeah.
But back to we digress and went down a rabbit hole. But
okay.
But back to the back to your comment that it's not religious. You guys don't have. If it wasn't religious, how many Christians are part of Muslim societies in most Muslim countries? It's a very, very small.
No.
And I'll take Lebanon as a perfect example.
No.
Lebanon used to be majority Christian. In came Muslims, and within 20 years, overthrew, kicked out most of the Christians, and they all ran away.
I know tons of Lebanese Christians, but here's the thing, Adam.
Where here?
Here and there. No, here and there. Hold on a second. But here's the thing. This is the point that I was making earlier. Is you're trying to use a point that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. What's going on in Jordan, what's going on in other parts of the world. We're talking about our conflict. And I think sometimes the Israeli argument tries to justify, well, you Muslims are bad people because this, and this happened in this different part of the world, when that has nothing to do with us, Adam. That has nothing to do with us. We are talking about
us who? Me and you, or us, your people?
No, the Israelis and the Palestinian conflict. What is how many Christians and Muslims there are in Lebanon and Jordan? There's a lot of Christians in Palestine. There's a lot of Christians in the West Bank.
That's just
Arab Christians,
right?
Yeah. But the point is, they live side by side,
right?
Okay. But the argument of, oh well, this other part of the world where you're Muslim, no, that doesn't. It's not valid to me. Because to me, and to most Palestinians, I can feel it's safe to say that the argument has nothing to do with religion. It's strictly about the land. And you can't say, well, your Muslim brothers are doing this in Jordan. Your Muslim brothers are doing this in Lebanon. Your Muslim brothers are doing this in wherever, because that has nothing to do with what we are going through.
Okay. So let's talk about what you're going through. So now that Israel... And we agreed, I guess, to disagree of
yeah. And I feel like this.
I mean, we have to settle that argument.
Well, if you want to settle, if you want to put a ribbon on it here, it's legally you are absolutely right. It was
that we both got land.
Yes,
and you are upset with the amount of land that you got. The where. So I'm going to go back. So I'm going to put you in the UN, and you get to decide how are you going to divide up the land for both Jews and Arabs, because we were both living there, right? What would you have done different? How can you carve up the land where zero Palestinians, if that's your goal, get displaced?
So listen, it's hard knowing what I know and knowing back then knowing the future. It's hard for me to make a judgment on that. I mean, if you ask me now, the way I think now, I feel like the fact that we were living side by side with each other. We were doing business. We were farming together. In a perfect world, it would have been just us.
Leave it alone.
And again, I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but I would like the stat. It was Palestine, the Israeli, and we welcome all the Jews to continue.
Jews have never been. That's blind. Jews have never been welcome anywhere, ever,
Okay.
ever.
Again, I'm saying
Nobody, even during World War II, when Hitler said all the Jews get out, there was 2 boats that were sent from Germany, because Hitler's first plan was get the hell out of our country, right? So a bunch of Jews try to leave. 2 boatfuls of Jews came to Ellis Island and were denied and turned back around to Germany.
Yeah.
So the Jews, even in America, were never wanted. They weren't wanted anywhere. So, I mean, let's not say the Arabs welcomed the Jews with open arms.
No. You asked me, in a perfect world.
No. In a perfect scenario, how would you carve up the land? You're saying that the Jews were given your land, right?
Yeah.
So how would you split up the land?
I wouldn't split it. I would continue to do what they were doing for hundreds of years, is sharing land, living side by side.
But the whole point of
the Palestinians
Zionism
was selling land to the Jews.
But the whole point of Zionism is that we have been kicked out of countries our
And
entire
you want your own
existence.
homeland.
We want somewhere to go to. We want somewhere that we can always return to, just like we came back to Israel. Anytime there was problems somewhere, we always try to come back to Jerusalem over thousands of years.
Well, to answer your
so you have, if I tell you have to divide the land, the British said we are not going to give one people or the other. We're not going to leave it the way it is. We've got to split it up. How would you split it up different?
I mean, Adam, I'll be honest, I'm not educated enough. I can't answer that. I can't say because I can't think about a time that I didn't exist in. I can only think about what.
But is it safe to say that no matter how much you divided the land, that Palestinians and Jews were going to be displaced?
No, I think here's the thing.
Yes or no?
If Palestinians were involved in making the decision, it might be different. It might be different if we were in
different land.
Like
we have to. Remember, I told you the example with my dad. He used to say, between my brother and I, he says, "You cut and you choose."
Yeah.
One person cuts up the pizza, and the other one chooses which slice he wants. Right.
Yeah.
Same thing. You cut, we decide, or we cut, you decide.
No. What I'm saying is,
but there's no scenario where Jews don't get displaced and Arabs don't get displaced.
Well, what I'm saying is,
and we'd still be here having this conversation. Goes, oh, y'all, we had to displace, but there's no other people get displaced all the time.
I'll tell you how I would answer that question is, if the Palestinians were involved with the British and the Zionists at the time this decision was made, then things might be different. Where if there was a negotiation between which land was to be given up, where maybe they sat back and.
I mean, we're not talking about one specific family that was really badly.
What
displaced.
What I'm saying is it could have been different if in the research that I've done, the Palestinians were never at the table to discuss. It was.
Yeah, how many times since then the Palestinians were at the table and they walked away? Every time.
Oh yeah, of course, since then. But what I'm saying is, you asked me back then, right? Back then, if all of us were involved, then I think maybe it would have been different.
So the answer is, hey, we're unhappy with the division of the land, so we're going to attack Israel, a new country, along with 5 other nations, and we're going to attack Israel on their day of their independence. That's how you solve the problem? Now, if you would have won, yeah, it's one way.
I mean, listen, I don't think war solves any problem, except obviously in World War II, that definitely solved the problem. But
well, I mean, the war is already going. We were just retaliating. I mean, the Western Allies just retaliated to the brutality of Hitler.
All I'm saying is, I feel like the Palestinian people have been kind of shunned aside in history, in the sense that, again, you asked me a question and I can't tell you how I would divvy up the land. All I can say is, based on the research that I done, there was no involvement in them in any of the decrees. And so
I promise you, the Jews weren't very, they weren't accounted for either. Nobody has said, let's make the Jews really happy.
Well, no, you had a Zionist leader, Rothschild, who was in discussions with the British about securing a homeland. And they had multiple discussions, and the Palestinians were never involved. So all I'm saying is, I think perhaps...
I think you're wrong, because, I mean, lot of Arab countries were involved during World War II. The Sultan of Brunei, I think it was. And I'm not.
And we can look this up.
We can look at this, but either way, I mean, I think it's fair to say that no matter how the land would have been divided, we'd still be here today with a conflict because they didn't want to give up any of the land. And even today, most people, and maybe not all Palestinians, but the people that are in the protests right now, they're not talking about a two-state solution. A lot of them, they want the entire from Hamas, who is right now the representative of the Palestinian people in Gaza, and the PLO, who are the representatives of the Palestinians in West Bank. Both of them, over and over and over again, have implicitly said, "We want all of the land back." And you cannot. It's in their charter. We can read it again.
The thing. I mean,
now whether they represent
I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I think a lot of people don't feel that way,
but feelings don't count. Well, you got to stand up and say, "This is not what we believe," and overthrow your government. Get new leaders.
I'm gonna address something that I sent you, where to address the point of, because I hear this a lot, like speak up against, like the people in Gaza should speak up against Hamas and this and that. Easier said than done, right? When you're living under the rule of, let's say it's Hamas right now, and it's not the best, it's not ideal, and you want better, but you have this other person, and I'm just going to use people. I'm just going to use people as that comes in, breaks your door down, kills half your family, trying to get to the one bad person, and they say, come go with me. I mean, whose side are you going to be on? Like the person who just came in, and it's I'm not articulating the metaphor the way I want to, but the point is, it's like, how can you tell somebody to fight against a people when there's to them, from their point of view, they're getting bombed left and right. They're getting
no. We have never ever struck Gaza ever without missiles coming at us first.
Okay,
show me one time ever that Israel has, and we haven't sent in one person ever until now. 18 years, one Jew has not entered into Gaza.
Okay,
true or not true?
Well, I agree with you there, but again,
so it's your land to govern, and if your Muslim brothers in Egypt don't want to help you,
again, you just keep throwing in these Arab. I mean, it's not.
But it's not. But you want you want you want Israel to help you with infrastructure. You brought that.
I didn't say help us with infrastructure.
Okay, so what do you? Okay.
You've taken our infrastructure. You give us no ability to build the infrastructure.
Why? Why doesn't Egypt give you the ability to build infrastructure? Why is it our responsibility?
Why are you throwing us to Egypt?
Because
they're on the border.
Like, have you ever heard Mexico demand that America help them with whatever? Hey, why don't you let us come across the border?
No. That's completely different.
Why is it different?
The Americans don't control the way the Mexicans live on a daily in Mexico.
How do we control?
What do you see?
I understand.
Again,
how do we
I
control?
Need you to.
Tell me how we control.
No. Okay. Let me just read this a comment that somebody sent in who's listening to the podcast, and you tell me if I'm wrong, or you point out the parts that are wrong, because I'm a little bit kind of, I don't know if maybe the Israeli people are naive to how Gaza functions because they don't care, or maybe they just are fed different things. Okay, so I need you to answer, and this is what this is about. Okay, so this is from a neuroscience major at USC. Okay, a white person, just not Palestinian, not Israeli.
Israelis, there are a lot of white Israelis.
Yeah, okay, I get it, but you get what I'm saying.
Black Israelis.
This is
Arab Israelis.
His whole point, based on the podcast that he heard, was to point out that these are two groups that are not on equal footing. And now I'm going to quote: Israel is a developed, rich country where people are incredibly cosmopolitan, and the average income is higher than Spain or Japan. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Right. Well, again,
I mean, we weren't born that way. I mean, if you've seen pictures of Israel in 1948.
But that's not the point. Let me finish this. Okay. Palestinians are literally not allowed to leave their fenced-in enclosure.
That's not true.
Okay. So Gaza is fenced in, correct? That's the border you guys built.
You mean Gazans are not allowed? Let's clarify what that says. Gazans are not allowed to leave their border and come
No,
into Israel.
if I'm going to quote correctly, Palestinians are literally not allowed to leave their fenced-in enclosures.
What's are you talking about? I don't know.
The
Without
wall, the fence, all of it.
Okay, so basically, Gazans are not allowed to. That translates: Gazans are not allowed to go into Israel. Correct?
Palestinians
Are not allowed to go into Israel.
are not allowed to yeah.
Okay. What country does allow people
No,
just
no,
come in
hold
their
on.
country?
Okay, so
I'm just asking a question because they're looking at it like, oh my God, Gazans can go into Israel.
they can't
Well-
go. They can't go anywhere. They can't go anywhere. To the next point, they don't have an airport. Do we have an airport?
That's not our fault. Build an airport.
Oh, really, really,
Be
really?
peaceful.
Well,
Be peaceful.
can we get somebody from the the Israeli Parliament and see if they'll allow us to build an airport? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? There's no way you guys would.
Does
let us
Jordan
build
have an airport?
Okay, Jordan.
Does
Again,
Lebanon have an
again.
airport?
Here we go again.
No, but why did
To think the implication here is that you guys would allow us to do that is ridiculous. You guys would not. The Israeli government would not. The second
I
we start building an
promise you-
airport, they'll bomb it. You know why? Because that's I understand completely why. But the reason you wouldn't allow us to build an airport is probably because that's more issues for you guys potentially, right? If they have an airport, if they can fly planes.
So let me
out-
ask you a question. Israel leaves Gaza in 2005. You guys elect I'm going to paint a picture. What could have been? 2005, Israel leaves. Gazans get together and goes, hey guys, you see what Israel has? We want that, right? You want to be cosmopolitan. You want to have science and education and public parks and beautiful landscape and you want to be free. Let's do what they did, and let's get a democracy. Let's make people's lives better. And let's say the elected, duly democratic, elections every 2 years, 4 years, whatever, non-separation of church and state, saying, let's keep religion. Let's look at all the Western cultures. They have a freer society than we have here in Gaza or most Muslim states. Let's be a shining beacon and show all the other states what we can do. And they get a democracy. And then they really have real elections and they build and they extend. And Israel gives aid, and we discussed this last time. They help Palestinians with medical care. They even pay some Palestinians for health care, all that stuff. Do you think that if they really wanted a democracy and made strides, and we didn't get bombed, not one rocket ever came over, you don't think Israel would support that and be so thrilled that our neighbor would live in peace with us? So other Arab countries goes, you know what? This looks like a much better, like a beacon to all of the Muslim countries to say this is what it could be. Why would we not do that? We are the first, anytime there's a world tragedy, Israelis are one of the first ones on the scene to help. We are helpers. We have no problem helping all the time. We give y'all money to help build infrastructure, but that money goes, the whole world gives y'all money. When you said earlier that the Palestinians are shunned aside, that is incorrect. You guys have gotten more attention than any other people in the history of the world with money, with media, with...
I think the media thing is just recently because, no. I mean, for the longest time...
Everybody knows there's a conflict in Israel.
Yeah, but everybody was always once. I mean, it was all one-sided. Only now when they see the people... Let me just address your point. I agree with you because, yes, I believe that Israel would want nothing more than us to be living peacefully in the land they put us in.
Once again.
No, but I'm telling you.
No, after 1948, Gaza was controlled by Egypt and the West Bank was controlled by Jordan. True. Until 1967. For 20 years, Israel had zero part in any part of those two parts. There was almost zero war. Until 1967, Gaza was controlled by Egypt. You can look it up.
No, I know.
And the West Bank was controlled by Jordan.
Yeah.
And we had no part of it whatsoever. You guys had 20 years then, and you had 20 years now to do something. If you would have made steps in the right way, and if Arafat would have taken a deal, I mean, how many deals? We've had maybe 6 or 7 deals that have fallen apart, yet Israel has continued to make peace agreements with Egypt, almost Saudi Arabia, a bunch of other countries. If you guys wouldn't have, why would we not want peace with the Palestinians?
Those countries do not want to go to war. They don't. They can't handle.
And we think we do.
No. I'm saying.
Do you think that Israel likes going to war?
They have stuff to live for. The Palestinian people have nothing to live for.
But they could.
No, well, but that's not the situation, right? When I tell you from firsthand experience, when I tell you that there's people there,
But why?
that are ready to die, that every day they expect to die because I tell you, the love that Palestinian people have for their home, their land, their people is greater than. Not to diminish that, it's just something that's unmatched with any other culture I've ever seen. And I feel it here a half a world away. And I don't experience, but what I'm telling you is they have, when you guys have, you have nothing, when you have nothing to live for, when you have
because you have
nothing to lose, when you have nothing to lose.
Because the head of your government are terrorists. Is Hamas a terrorist organization?
Hamas is a terrorist organization, but the point
is. But to the world, they are your mouthpiece. When they interview, I mean, are they interviewing anybody else from Gaza?
Oh, I see it all the time. I see children being interviewed. I see.
No. I'm talking about a leader that represents your people, other than Hamas, who in the last 3 interviews this week has specifically said, "Do not mince my words. We are not stopping until we get all of Israel. We will kill." He doesn't say that. I mean, we can.
Yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't, but your guys promote the annihilation of my people.
We do not.
I've sent you.
Name me one leader.
I've sent you.
Name me one leader that speaks for Israel that has said that.
I've sent you 2 articles of people in parliament that have spoken about that. And you to your credit, you've said, well, Netanyahu has suspended them or removed them. Somebody who suggested dropping a bomb.
And they said it. They said it after they were out of part. I mean, it's like. Right now, if George Bush, that was president 20 years ago, said something,
and I sent you another article on Israeli TV, another clip on Israeli TV where, and again I forget where the guy literally said, the lives of Israelis matter more than the lives of Palestinians. Okay. So you're saying, I mean, yes, but we're in a time of war.
But your leader is calling for the annihilation of every Jew on earth. Not just in Israel. He said, we don't stop until all Jews are killed.
Listen,
now hold on. But there's no other. It's not like 2 parties. Right now in America, we have 2 parties. We have a bunch of parties. I mean, you have libertarians and all that. But the 2 main powers are Democrats and Republicans, right?
Okay.
And both have leaders that speak on behalf of their party, right? There is nobody in Gaza that you can go, okay, this is what Hamas says. What do the Palestinians as a whole say? You guys don't have any other leaders except for Hamas.
Again, this is the point. I mean, we are worse than a 3rd world country right now. Okay, to think that we are going to have the same.
But even before then, in the last,
it's never been. We've never had the luxury.
Why not?
Why not? Because it was taken from us.
Oh my God!
And listen,
by who?
Is this I mean, and you can look this. Is this the first time this conflict's been going on for 75 years? This isn't the first time that I mean, I've been there. I've been there in times of peace in the West Bank, in Jerusalem, and I've literally.
You cannot use those because
hold on a second. But I've been there and literally. I
understand.
I've seen demolished buildings that I see trash in the streets. I can't go across the street or into the next city without going through an Israeli checkpoint. It's because
we see what happens in Gaza. We saw what happens in Gaza.
No. Those checkpoints have been there since before 2005.
No, I understand. But we've given Gaza to you several times and we've been completely out. And you guys, I'm not saying you guys.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
And they've been using all the money and all the aid, the leaders, to try to destroy Israel. Why would we go out into somewhere that's even more densely populated and just let you guys do whatever you want?
Here's the thing.
Are there bad actors in the West Bank?
Bad what?
Are there terrorists in the West Bank?
I mean, not that I know of.
I mean, there's PLO.
I mean, listen, there's
the PLO has never tried to kill Israelis.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I mean, but again, hold
on. You just said that you've seen homes destroyed because Israel has a policy, a very well-known policy. Yeah. If you are a terrorist and you come into Israel and you kill Israelis,
Okay, no,
we will destroy your
no,
home.
no, I think you guys. Well, and again,
Is that
please,
true?
listen. Our term of you guys, please, we're not trying to disrespect either one here. So just, but I think I understand your point.
Okay, so when you
But
see a demolished home, it's because a terrorist lived there. We don't come in there and
that's the defense. That's your defense for everything.
to just go destroy a home. Why would we want to do that?
Adam.
We could level the entire place in the blink of an eye.
But you wouldn't do that if
Why?
If you guys dropped if you leveled it. I mean,
if
listen,
Hamas had a nuclear weapon, would they dropped it?
not again. This is not.
Would they have
possible.
dropped it?
If Hamas had the power to have a nuclear weapon, we probably wouldn't be in this situation because
Israel would be gone.
No, it wouldn't, because we'd probably, if you can build a nuclear weapon, then you're probably a more modern civilization than a third world country.
They got one smuggled in. Would they fire it? Would they fire it?
No, they would not fire it.
But they're firing 6,000 rockets without guidance.
To say that, I mean, Adam, that is a ridiculous comment, because an atomic bomb, you're calling it's saying that
right now, Hamas has a button that they can push a button and it would kill every Jew. Would they push it?
Listen,
in a
Adam,
second.
No, that's the problem.
Then you're blind to the people.
I'm not saying that they're not willing to fight the fight, but you're saying like we would literally drop a bomb to annihilate every single Israeli.
I'm not saying Hamas would push that button so fast it would make your head spin. They would kill every Jew. And if you can't,
well, I'll tell you this, Adam,
Rami, you have to.
I'm not going to say that. I don't think. I honestly,
Why?
I don't think there's anybody on this earth.
Would Hitler would push a button?
Whether it's
would have Hitler pushed that button to kill the Jews?
Listen, that's a different time back then. But I'm saying personally, this is me personally speaking. I don't think there's anybody from. I think people wish they could. I'm not going to disagree with you in the sense
there are people right now in public with signs saying "gas the Jews." There's people out there holding a sign that has a trash can with a Jewish star in it that says "Clean the world." I'm gonna open. How do you not see that there's evil on this earth that would do anything to kill the Jews?
And there's evil on this. If we're going to talk in general terms, there's evil on this earth that would do everything to kill the Palestinians.
Wrong.
Here's what I'm saying, Adam.
Show me one sign ever in public that somebody goes kill all the Palestinians.
Adam, I never see. And here's the thing. This is kind of circling back around to the stuff that we see. I never see any of that stuff. I mean, I would love for you to share it with me, because I don't. And I watch mainstream news, and obviously I get fed my Palestinian pro news, but every day I see stuff on whether it's CNBC, Fox. I would love to see some of this stuff. And what happens when you send me stuff like that? I acknowledge it, and for whatever reason, I always apologize for the small sect of people, but just don't. And this is part of the issue that I have is. Just because we say, and this is a point we wanted to address, just because we say from the river to the
let's open that up.
Just because we say from the river to the sea doesn't mean kill every Jew in between. That phrase started in 1960 when it
64.
was in the
yellow.
So when it was a saying that we wanted our land back, we wanted the land from the river to the sea, and
that's just so you know, that's entire Israel. And Palestine and West Bank.
And again, that's what it was,
from
right?
the Jordan River.
So I'm gonna
hold on, just so we understand. From the Jordan River, the east of Israel, to the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and everything in between.
Yeah, basically we're saying we want the land that was ours. Okay.
So there's a very easy way to say that, because we want our land back.
Okay. You say in Arabic, right? So when you translate things, they don't necessarily. Okay. So I'm
sure.
There's things
in 1964, when that was started. And if you take into consideration,
let me finish the point that I was trying to make, and then you can argue it, right? Okay. Because I want to get this point across, and then feel free to because I did some research on this, because this is something that you voiced to me about how you felt that phrase specifically meant annihilate and kill all the Israelis or the Jews, and so I will address the research that I did based on your inquiry, and then you're free to speak. All right. So the fruit originated in the 1964, like you said,
with the founding of the PLO, which, by the way, was founded 3 years before 1967 war. which there was zero occupation.
Okay.
From 1948 until 1967,
Okay.
Israel did not have any occupation whatsoever in any Palestinian lived in land.
Okay.
So I'm just saying the PLO is one point I wanted to make last week we didn't get to, was that it was created 3 years before we even occupied anywhere, which is strange. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not like Zionists started I mean, it was a movement.
Right.
Okay. So just like the Zionists started a movement that, Palestinians needed an organization, right? So
I know, but it was just called Palestinian Liberation Organization. Liberate from what when we weren't occupying yet? But either way, go ahead.
all right. So basically it's a phrase that gained popularity in the 1960s.
And what did it mean then?
Okay. Again, Adam, just let me
I'm
finish.
just saying. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
It identifies with ancestral home in Palestine. Okay. And this is according to Maha Nasser, which is an associate professor of Middle Eastern history at the University of Arizona. The phrase Palestine will be free from the river to the sea suggests a vision of the future without a Jewish state. Okay. So I'm going to agree, but it does not answer the question of what role the Jews would be.
Where would the Jews go?
Again, Adam, I'm addressing all this.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
So basically, it started as a movement saying we want the land, we want our land back, our land that was taken from us. Over time, Hamas adopted it as a way to say, yes, we want the land from the river to the sea, and that would mean, eliminating all the Jews in between. So it's perception. And on that note, and again, and this is just a brief summary, in my history of, or my research, I also came across a phrase that, and you can maybe verify this, Benjamin Netanyahu said that had kind of the same meaning, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu enhanced a similar slogan in which he said, between the sea and Jordan, there will only be Israeli sovereignty. So I can interpret that if this again.
I've never heard
this
that.
This is an article in the New York Times. So we can fact check this, but I can interpret that the same way you can interpret from the river to the sea, is everything in between that's not
okay. But okay,
yeah, no, I'm done with that.
So being that you agree that the PLO, and I think it's been delisted as a terrorist organization for the PLO, but they were for many years considered a terrorist organization, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the U.S. listed the PLO as a terrorist organization for many years. Now, being that it was created by the PLO, and being that the PLO charter of 1968 specifically calls for the taking of all the Jewish land back, and it's not going to be at the hand of the Jews saying, "Oh, you know what? You're right. Here's the land back." It would be a war in which the Palestinians would have to take the land back, right? I mean, if that battle cry or that slogan insinuates that you want all of your land back, it would have to be through war.
But doesn't war end sometimes with not everybody dying?
I'm
saying, like, war, you don't win a war by killing everybody.
Well, I mean, when you're taking over a land, the Jews would not say, "You know what, we surrender." They would leave somewhere else. And you know that there would never, ever be a peaceful union where the Jews are living in a new Palestine. I'm saying if that
at this point,
if that saying were to happen, and people said we want all of our land back, the only way to accomplish that is through war, and it's through the surrender of the Jews. And either the Jews would have to leave.
You're talking now or
now?
No. I mean,
so, and I wanted to bring up an example. So I was thinking about the meaning of phrases, right? So let's say, for example, because from the river to the sea, if I'm telling you that most educated people, Jews, Americans, and the rest of the world, when they hear that, and even the people that are chanting it in the streets, I mean, you've seen the protests. I mean, it's a very popular slogan, right? And every 90% of the hateful posts that I've gotten on my Instagram about posts that I've made have had that slogan in it, right? From the river to the sea, ... So knowing that that's what it's perceived as. It's and I hate using the word hurtful because it's a victim mentality. I don't care about words. I care about intent. The intent is we want all of our land back, regardless of the means in which we have, because there is no other means. There is no other. The UN's not going to wake up one day and says, you know what, these Palestinians are right. We got to give them their entire land back. Jews move out, or we're going to put you somewhere else. So that's never going to happen. In me, it's a battle cry saying we will do whatever it takes until we have our entire country back, which means kill all the Jews or kick them out. There's no other way. There's no way that Jews are going to live side by side with Palestinians in one land called Palestine ever.
Well,
right?
I'm not going to I agree with you there. And
so when you say that, so I said,
I'm telling you, I was addressing the origin of the phrase.
I'm talking about what people say now. It's a battle cry to kill the Jews.
No, well,
I mean, if you
for
drill
some
it
people,
down,
but I'm telling you, like when people, in the city of Dallas march, people I know, it's a chant. It's sometimes it's
get a new chant.
No, but here's the thing, Adam. You can't say
okay,
it like that. Because when somebody's chanting that and they have no intention, they're chanting it based on the meaning that they learned as a child from the 1960s. Like, hey, I hate to romanticize it a little bit, but it's like, a mother telling her child, from the land to the sea, we will be free. I mean, you
get a new slogan.
Listen, Adam, this is not a business. Sometimes you look at everything from a business perspective. You're running the lives of people like it's a corporation. You're a very successful guy. I mean, every business you have, I've done business with you. But these are people. These are people. You can't. It's not McDonald's. It's like say, hey, McDonald's change.
Why isn't the chant? Let's make our country better. Let's get the terrorist organization destroying our lives.
Adam,
get them out, and then we'll have our own country to be a free people.
Adam,
can you be free in Gaza without Hamas?
Can we be free
in Gaza?
Free, define free, because the thing is, in Gaza, we were never free. We were never free.
Okay, who are your two jailers?
Who built the fence?
Who are your two jailers?
I mean, listen.
There's two borders. Who are your two jailers?
Mean, you're going to bring up Egypt again. Egypt has nothing to do with
this.
Has
everything to do with it.
It doesn't.
Why not?
You're trying to do what you're always you're trying to throw the Palestinians to the other Arabs.
No. You guys want infrastructure. You want people to let you stuff in. Why do we have to open the door? Let the Egyptians open the door and give you whatever they want. Why are they more adamant about not helping than the Jews, than Israel?
Egypt has their own problems.
And Israel doesn't? You think
well, I mean, your problems, Israel's problems stem with us.
No, I mean, we have, right before, one of the reasons that that Hamas attacked is because we had a lot of internal turmoil with Netanyahu and him changing the...
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's like...
Israel is not a paradise if it wasn't for Palestinians. I mean, we have, a lot of immigration. We have a huge poverty problem with, we're a small piece of land with a lot of people in that land, just like you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're not Egypt's problem.
Okay, but why not?
Why
you're Israel's problem? Why does Israel owe you anything?
Because again, this is the origin of the conflict. Our disagreement over land and being occupied. And
but how come Israel doesn't say give us our land back? That land was never yours. It was never ours. I mean, hypothetically, it was a lot more ours than yours. I mean, we have the Bible that.
Okay. If we go back to like the world geography based on the Bible, then nothing would be what it is today.
Right.
Okay.
But we have more stake. But historically speaking, Palestinians weren't ever Palestinians before the 1900s.
A group. Listen, whether you want to call them Palestinians,
has there ever been a Palestinian leader before 1964?
Adam,
I'm asking you a question. Find me one.
That doesn't matter when you have a people there that were displaced. That's the thing.
Before 48.
Before 48. You're so casual about there was a civilization there. There was a group of people there. Did the Native Americans have a leader?
Sure they did.
They had
tribal leaders.
Yeah, they had tribe leaders, right?
Right.
Okay. But again,
every group of people throughout history has a leader, from Caesar to thousands of other.
All I'm saying is just don't be so casual about the people who lived there
No,
for hundreds
but
of years.
okay, but
You know,
live there and own the land are two different things.
Okay, I mean, listen, Adam, the United States owns America, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if they said here, I mean, we're going to kick everybody out in Texas and make, I mean, it just.
But we did that with Mexico. We took Texas from Mexico. We never hear Mexicans saying, "Where's my land?" Ever, ever, ever. They would laugh. We would laugh at them. So you fucking crazy?
Okay,
Well, I mean, it's not true. So before Israel, before there was ever Israel, Palestinian leaders, Palestinian coins, Palestinian. As far as a people, in order to what do you consider people?
That's my point. That's my point. Is you use all these things like, oh, you guys weren't real. You guys didn't exist. There's no such thing as Palestinian people. And I apologize. I'm not getting mad at you. This is the narrative that I hear from people. Palestine. There's no such thing as Palestine. Yes, there was a people.
A Palestinian people.
There was people,
but there was not a Palestine.
It was Palestine on the map.
And when they became Palestinians, where they came from Jordan and Egypt and all these other countries, and they came into the region, just like Jews did, just like Americans from Ireland came here, and now they're American.
Yeah, so what makes Palestinians any different?
Because when people from Ireland came here, they didn't say this is the new Ireland, this is America. And
but the reason they came to America that's different. America was built on, I mean, it was a country built on freedom, on people, leaving persecution and all the stuff that they
came over here and enslaved and killed Indians. I mean, they did. I mean, but that's just the nature of the evolution of the world. People come in and nobody welcomes them. Oh yeah, come over here, take my country.
Except all that stuff happened hundreds of years ago.
It's still
before
happening.
We were a civilization. We're talking about people that are still alive in our lifetime.
But look at Russia. USSR is gone. It's now Russia, and this whole Ukraine war, the entire Ukraine war is Putin says, I want Ukraine back in Mother Russia. That's it's the same story. Same story. Nobody's up in arms. I mean, look, the world is up in arms about.
And listen, if that has very similar, I mean, that could be a very similar situation.
I mean, that happened actually more recent. The departure of Ukraine.
I don't think everybody's okay. I don't think anybody's okay with it.
I understand, but you don't see the protests like you do for Ukraine, like you see for Palestinians. Well, they get more attention for that small area, and there's way more. Putin killed half a million people.
So
500,000 people.
Are we wrong for getting sympathy?
No, of course not. But build a country. I understand why you can't build a country. Israel would be your first country that would help you do that. But it does not start with electing Hamas. So I want to give one.
We didn't elect Hamas, so that's.
But they're there. Overthrow them.
Yeah, I mean,
overthrow them. Have a revolution. I know it's hard and people will die, but is it better that it's at the hands of Israelis coming in and destroying your country because we're getting rockets thrown at us? Or is it better that it's done? And remember, you told me if you die at war, you become a martyr regardless of whether you're a fighter or innocent?
Hold on. Again,
not the martyr, but you go to heaven.
Well, I'm not saying a terrorist goes to heaven. I never said that.
But whether you're fighting or you're innocent,
these innocent people,
right? Go to heaven.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, if people are going to die, regardless, isn't it better dying overthrowing a terrorist regime rather than dying senselessly because a terrorist regime is bombing from your neighborhood?
And I agree with you 1,000%.
But most post-Palestinians, a lot of Palestinians don't.
The ability to do that is another thing. The ability for those people.
There are a lot more of you than there are of Hamas. Yes or no?
Yeah, I get that, but
so why not overthrow them? I know. Why is it funny?
Because how you say that so casually.
Did you ever see the invasion of American troops in Normandy?
Do you
wait? Do you ever see that the U-boats when they came over and they landed in France and to invade Europe and win World War II?
Okay.
You ever see those? You ever see Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
They had people that on the front line were suicide. There was no other way. They are the front line to take the bullets so the next infantry to come in, and they got shot. It's what you do when you believe in something so badly that people are willing to die for the right reasons, why don't you overthrow Hamas?
And
It seems like
the only
illogical. That's the only way. If I told you,
and the way
that's the only way to do it, would y'all do it?
I mean,
Because we're not Israel will not lose.
Again,
do we agree with that?
I'm going to paint this picture from I agree with you. Israel's not going to lose. I mean, I concede that, but I'm going to paint this picture from you to you. This is just my interpretation from somebody who, and again, this is just my interpretation. It could be completely wrong, but this is just how if you're a Palestinian living in Gaza and you're anti-Hamas, okay, but you're more than likely you're also anti-Israel because of what you have a lifetime of going through, whether it's you, your grandparents, whatever the case may be. I have two evils in front of me, but this evil is fighting this evil, okay? That's the point that I'm trying to make to you is what you're saying, I completely agree with. Yes, if we can just eliminate, but from their perspective, from a person's perspective who's sitting there and he's got the evil that's on his side versus the evil
they're
is
not on your side.
No, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
I mean, but you know that most Palestinians do most Palestinians believe that Hamas has their best intentions in mind?
No.
Okay.
No, but what I'm saying to you is that a lot of Palestinians also do not believe that Israel has their best intentions in mind, right? Okay.
So I mean, when Israel's coming in with tanks but this is the first time in 18 years. But
so all I'm saying is that from that perspective, the person living there, it's like I have this evil and this evil, but this evil is trying to protect me from this. That's the only thing I could logically.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
From me only.
So let's say you ask an average Palestinian who lives in either Gaza or the West Bank, and they said Hamas is about to fire missiles from a neighborhood. And I'm telling you this before this happens. And we asked the question to the average Palestinian. Hamas is about to fire rockets at Israel from atop of a residential building, a hospital, a school, a neighborhood, etc. And you ask the Palestinian, what do you think Israel is going to do? What's their answer?
What do we think Israel is going to do if we fire those rockets?
Yes.
They're going to kill us.
Okay, so if you know that's the case, and you see somebody, because I mean they're not doing it in the darkness of night, all of a sudden, oh my God, what's these rocket launchers doing on my roof or in my school or in my building? I mean, you have to think that people are seeing them, drag this rocket launcher into the area, and you know that if that rocket launches, that there's going to be a missile that's pretty precise, can come right back at you in a matter of hours or days or minutes. Don't you have a better chance of surviving if you try to kill the person trying to fire the rockets?
Listen, I don't know firsthand how that stuff happens in there. I mean, I know.
It's not magic.
I know
it has to.
No, but I'm saying I don't think it's as transparent as rolling a rocket launcher.
Have you seen the rocket launchers?
No, but what I'm saying is I don't think it's that transparent. I don't think like somebody who's anti-Hamas is in that circle to where they.
I mean, but they're shooting it from residential areas. Obviously, there's not a residential area that only Hamas lives in.
They're shooting it from, and again, I don't know this well enough, but I will tell you this.
And I mean, they're also proof that they're digging up the water pipes and making the missiles from the water pipes.
Again,
I mean, so it's in clear sight. I mean,
but again,
they're not blind to it.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Adam. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, you're asking people to do something that, I mean, listen, I don't think any of us really do understand what is going on, how it operates in there. Because I will tell you this, all the videos I've seen of dead people, I look for like I'm looking to see if there's anybody dead, and it could be just what I'm getting fed. But I'm waiting to see this Hamas leader dead or this or that. I mean, I don't know what's going on in there, and to think that these people that are leaving in herds to avoid
those are normal people that just want to live.
Yeah, and those are people that, and I'll tell you this from I have a gentleman that I do business with who's Palestinian. I asked him actually, if he wanted to come chat, and he didn't want to. His entire family's from Gaza, and his family is safe at the moment, but he said he's lost some friends there, and he said, "Listen, Rami," he's like, "I want peace." He's like, I two parties.
Yeah, but you have to fight for peace.
Yeah,
peace does not come easily. Blood has to be shed in order to get freedom. Freedom is not a right. It's what you earn.
No, that's history. That's history. So
you have to fight for freedom.
Yeah, and
people have to. I mean, how many Americans have died for freedom?
Yeah, no, and I think we can. I think we can agree at that point, and I think that's a good place to kind of move on from this conversation, because I think you're right. I think,
okay, and back to your symbolism of the from the river to the sea. The Nazi swastika. Do you know where it came from? Right.
Tell me.
It's an old American Indian sign that the Nazis took as their symbol. Now, it's still very vaguely out there still. If I'm a proud American Indian and I want to walk around with my people's old insignia from 150 years ago, would you recommend that? And I had walked around with a T-shirt with a swastika on it because I'm an American Indian.
Yeah, but I think a flag, a logo, something like that it's
has a swastika on it.
Yeah, no.
Would you recommend?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, so because people are gonna get no. This is my heritage. This is my. I don't care. You could not walk around. You should not walk around with a swastika on your shirt, unless you want to tell people or show people that you want to kill blacks and Jews and anybody that's not like you, because that's what symbolizes to the world. If that's the symbol of what people take it as, should that, and people are saying that's the cry that you want to annihilate. If I'm a Jew and I'm listening to this, that basically means I want you to die. That's how I take it as, and that's how every Jew. I promise you.
I believe you. I believe you.
But when Rashida Tlaib, who's a member of Congress, is putting that on her social media and yelling it on the podium, it's a cry to kill Jews and other people who are not that smart, but they interpret it that way. I'm saying people in politics can outwardly say through that phrase that it's okay to want to kill every Jew in Israel and take over the land, because that's the only way that Palestinians will get all the land back, is to kill all the Jews. It's a battle cry. And if people that it's directed to, that slogan is not directed to, I just want to say it for all the other Palestinian people to hear it. I want the Jews to hear it. This is what I want you to, this is what's in my heart from the river to the sea. And if you don't take it as a battle cry, other people do. It's a threat on our home.
I agree with that, because
our lives.
I do look at it as just a more of like a rally cry for freedom, as opposed to like the literal translation of it. But I understand completely, and I don't disagree. I agree 100%, because I don't want either one of us to feel like we are promoting, our people, our leaders are promoting the annihilation of the other.
Because Jews never, Jews as a whole. I went to a peace thing. It was the Kristallnacht is what happened in the Holocaust during Nazi Germany. A lot of Jews were killed, and it's the 85th anniversary was yesterday. So I went to. Have you seen pro-Israel rallies?
I've seen a few.
We're not tearing down stuff. We're not calling for the extermination of anyone. We just want the right to exist. That's it.
You are existing
under shitty circumstances. We're surrounded.
Adam,
we're surrounded by 5 countries that would kill us in a second. Comparatively speaking.
No, to the fact that you said you guys are living in a shitty situation. All 5 of those countries are afraid of you. They're not going to fuck with you.
I understand, but Jews right now in the entire world, outside of Israel, the first time in 75 years since the birth of the Israeli state, that Jews outside of Israel feel more scared than the Jews in Israel. I have friends that have taken, you know what a mezuzah is?
Mezuzah?
The mezuzah. It's the scroll that we put on our door.
Oh, yeah.
So it's back from the Passover, but nonetheless, it's protect your home. I have friends who are Jewish that have taken that down in fear of people who hate Jews coming to their house.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect segue with what happened with Aiden.
Yeah.
I told you about the story. He went to a pro-Israel rally.
Okay, and I want to get a little context. So, because we didn't chat about this, the pro-Israeli rally, was that happening
I don't know the geography. I know it was close.
There were both. There
Relative,
were two rallies at the same time: a pro-Israeli rally and a pro-Palestinian rally.
not right across the street from each other, but
Close enough.
close enough.
Okay.
So he was leaving, and he had, when he was at the pro-Israeli rally, he had a Israeli flag that he put on his window and rolled up the window so the flag was draping.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So when he was driving back, they drove by a pro-Palestinian rally. A guy, he had his windows rolled down, ran by the car, and he was in my cousin's Tesla, which records everything. You know, has the cameras everywhere.
And
So
I
I've seen
can,
the
Adam shared the video with me, and I mean, if you're comfortable, we could
yeah.
even
So
put it up.
a person that was dark skinned, he might have been black with dreadlocks. It was hard to tell from the video. Runs up, kicks the car, and spits in the window at my son. They continue to drive. My son rolls the window down to pull the flag because the guy kept on running by the car and trying to pull the flag, and it was stuck because it was wedged in the window.
Mhm.
So my son rolls down the window and pulls the flag inside the vehicle. The guy comes runs up to the car, jumps in headfirst into the passenger's seat through the window, and is like trying to wrestle my son and take the flag away. Luckily, before things escalated, because my son packs
Yeah.
because of the current situation, which he's trying to get me to do the same. You know, I don't know if I'm there yet. I have a gun in my house, but I don't know if I want to carry it because I can get hot headed, and the last thing I want is to ruin the rest of my life because I did something stupid or somebody provoked me. But nonetheless, my son was going to reach for his gun as this guy is like, you know, trying to wrestle him in the car, and then luckily a cop pulled the man out of the car, and they drove. The cop goes, just leave. So he drives off. Within 30 seconds, two pickup trucks, both with huge Palestinian flags on their bed of their vehicle, that was like a post on the bed, kind of like they have those tow trucks, but it was a pole with a Palestinian flag. One gets in front of my cousin's car, and one gets in back. So he weaves, and they go through a car chase at high speeds through the city, chasing them. Now they didn't catch them. My son and my cousin got away. But what is that about? What would they have done if they would have caught him?
Yeah, and honestly, like,
Why is there so much hatred against Jews here? Why is there not a differentiation between Israelis in Israel living there and the Israeli government and Jews who are so far away from this whole thing? Most American Jews are like, yeah, I kind of support Israel, but they're not going to rallies. There's very few American Jews that will, yeah, I stand with Israel to a certain extent, but I'm not going, you know, on a Saturday morning and protesting.
yeah, and
Where Palestinians are so much more passionate about it here. And it's when I say passion, there's a lot of hatred. They're not chanting, and you know, it's usually not peaceful. They're tearing this whole thing with tearing down pictures of kidnapped children,
which is
and
not right. No.
I mean, where do these kids in universities get off on tearing down kidnapped kids? It's not propaganda. They're saying, oh, we haven't seen any. We think it's propaganda.
I will tell you this. I think, and you know, honestly, this breaks my heart too. And I shared this with you, and I mean, when stuff like this happens, and I'm sitting here, you know, always trying to promote the cause, and although sometimes you and I get heated, I think we still have a respect for each other. We do have a respect for each other, and nothing we discuss comes from hate. I don't, but unfortunately, it's just like other people don't see things the way we do, and I don't know if it's maybe because some Palestinian people are just so close to the situation that
I don't think a lot of these people that are protesting are. I saw I see a lot of the, you know, guy in the street kind of interviews where he's walking up to people at
oh
the
yeah,
pro-Palestinian rallies.
a lot of them are not Palestinian too.
Right. So these left-wing, purple hair whack jobs that have been cuddled all their life, and they just want something to be behind. One of the things that I think is missing in America is religion, because people are so lost and they're looking for any cause they can get behind, whether it's abortion or just something to do on a Saturday. I mean, most, you know, our religion, you know, you guys pray almost every day,
5 times a
five
day.
times a day. Jews are also 3 times a day. I'm not a religious Jew, but there are you're supposed to go to synagogue every Saturday, and I go very rarely. When I do, I feel good because it's, you know, to talk about sermons, about being better and all that. I should go more, but it's something to do on a Saturday with your family. Christians do on Sunday morning, where it's a family event and they go to church and they go to lunch. It's a family-centric event. A lot of these kids don't have any identity or anything to belong to, so they're just looking for the whatever, the passion of the week to get behind. So they interviewed these two girls, I think it was in Australia or New Zealand, and they're, pro-Palestine, free Palestine from the river to the sea. And the guy walks up and he goes, well, do you support Hamas? Why wouldn't we? He goes, well, what do you think about what they did on October 7th? What happened on October 7th? I mean, so they're there like talking, and he goes, you didn't hear that Hamas came into Israel and killed 1,400 people? I heard something about that, but I don't think that was real. Is that real? I mean, just completely idiotic. They see their friends going, oh, we're going to go to a pro-Palestinian rally. Well, yeah, are they oppressed people? Oh, yeah, come on, let's go.
Well, I'll tell you, and that just makes my blood boil, because I think it's I see that a lot, and I've said this to people, and I've even said this to people online. I said, listen, this is not a trend. Somebody will leave a comment, whether it's pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel, whatever the case, and it's just like you said, they're uneducated. I say, listen, this is not a trend. You're going to forget about this in 2 weeks. I lived through this. The Israelis lived through this, and that's why. And this is before you and I even started doing. That's why people, if you don't fight a cause just because it's trending, or just because. Fight it for something you believe in, something you've educated on, whether you're on, and again, I don't ask people to choose sides, but whether you're on this side or that side, learn, educate, because
do you think anybody should be pro-Hamas?
No.
How are people pro-Hamas, and how are some people, when they say I'm pro-Hamas, don't get like you're glorifying death and terrorism and the killing of innocent people, because they're not just killing Israelis, they're killing Palestinians.
We're going to disagree on that.
You don't think Hamas kills Palestinians if they try to stand up and there's free speech in Palestine?
Well, hold on.
In Gaza?
I thought you were referencing, because there's this video going around of these dead Palestinians.
No. I'm talking about, if I live in Gaza and I'm protesting in the street against Hamas, nothing happens to me?
Well, yeah, that's honestly, I'm gonna have to do some research. I don't think there is protesting in the streets against Hamas, and it could be for that reason.
And I do want to touch on something that has bothered me since our last podcast.
Okay.
The treatment of gays. And I didn't want to get into it with you, but I think either not being realistic and lying to yourself, or you're sugarcoating it. Because I've done a lot of research since then. It is absolutely not allowed.
I said it's against the Quran, and I'm going to tell you this. I think
by death.
I think
they will kill you.
Okay, they don't do that. They don't.
How do you know that?
It's okay. Listen,
Adam, gay guys.
I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Because I've done the research.
I'm gonna tell you this right now, with all due respect, because I think you're just using that to make Muslims look bad, to prove your point. So I think that has nothing to do with why we are here. Okay, so I'm straight up. I'm telling you that I believe that you are using that as a point to just make Muslims look bad.
That's not true.
That has nothing. That's what I'm telling you. I believe.
So hold on. So if something is happening, we can't talk about it.
This has nothing to do with why you and I are here. You're just going to tell me, oh, the way I look at it is, you're saying, yes, being gay is against
it's against Judaism too.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you're just saying, let me rephrase that. You're more progressive.
Let me rephrase that.
So you're more civilized.
In the Bible, it does talk about that a man should not sleep with a man.
Okay. As it does in the Quran, and as it does in.
Okay. So when we talk, if we're going to have the slogan of our conversation, honest conversations, just because it makes something look bad doesn't mean it's off limits.
No, I'm saying
because there are a lot of gays that are protesting on behalf of Hamas.
I think they're protesting. And here's
pro-Hamas.
Here's another thing, and I think there is some. I hate to say it, but there's some gray there, right? Like, I think people, and I think it's okay to protest against what the Israeli government is doing,
but without glorifying Hamas.
Exactly. I think that should be you're either pro-Palestinian or anti what the Israeli government is doing, not anti-Jew. Not
But can you tell me what the Israeli government before October 7th?
Okay, this is a long conversation.
Tell me what they did.
Here's the thing, Adam.
I mean, not letting you into our country is not a good enough answer.
No. Hold on a second, Adam.
Because we started talking about it.
No, I know, but this is the conflict from decades ago. So,
but right now,
it's continued.
Before October 7th, what was the Israeli government actively doing to mess with Gazans? I'm asking, not the West Bank, because I agree it is occupied.
I'm gonna say this because let's save that for next time, because that is not a short conversation. The point is that I'll try and do this quickly. Nothing new has happened. This has been going on for 75 years.
Well, that's not true.
In the opinion of the Palestinian, and
something big happened in 2005. We pulled out of Gaza.
In the
that's a big deal.
In the opinion of the Palestinian people,
that's not an opinion.
Hold on a sec. No, that's your fact.
No, it's a fact that we pulled out in 2005. We agreed on.
No, I agree on that. But what you're saying, what did you do? I'm saying we've been occupied. We've been occupied for 75 years.
That's not true.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, define occupy. How about that? We'll start with that. That's like we do.
Since
define the word occupy.
Since 48.
No. Define the word occupy.
And we're gonna have to address this topic specifically. But it's basically we had Palestinian territory that you guys occupied.
I'm talking about in general for
you're living in land that was Palestinian land. You occupied the land. You're moving our people out.
So it has nothing to do with Israelis being in Gaza. You're talking about the fact that we are in Israel.
Okay,
that's occupation.
Here's another issue. Here's another thing that maybe is a misunderstanding. That yes, the issue right now is between Gaza, but Gaza.
But to you, what does occupy mean? The fact that there's Israelis in Palestine.
The fight of the Palestinian people is a fight of the entire people. It's not Gaza, and the people.
So you want all of it. I'm asking you a question. It's a very simple question.
What I'm telling you is,
when you say to an idiot that just landed here from Mars, goes, yeah, the Israelis are occupying my country, my land. Are you talking about West Bank and Gaza? Or are you talking about anywhere in Israel?
We're talking about what happened in 1948. Okay?
So anywhere in Israel is occupation.
And I know what you're doing here. You're going to.
I'm asking you a simple question.
What I'm telling you is,
because if you ask me what the Palestinians are doing that I'm unhappy with, I've got a whole list, and I can tell you, boom, 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 boom. But you won't give me an answer. Tell me what occupy means.
You are living in occupied Palestinian land.
So anywhere in Israel, we're occupying it.
If we're going based, I'm telling you, this has started 75 years ago. So technically, yes,
I'm talking about what you mean when you say.
What I mean. Listen,
it's a simple question.
We're talking about history or me.
You.
The occupied.
What do you want to happen? What do you want Israel to go?
Listen, Adam. Well, you know what I want. And so if you want me to tell the world what I want our people to live in peace.
That's a very generic answer.
No, there's nothing generic about what I want. I want my people to live freely, and I want your people to live freely.
Where?
Okay.
Where do you want us to live freely? In Israel?
Side by fucking side.
Okay.
Okay. I've said that a million times.
Okay, but you keep on saying that we're occupying. So where are we on?
This is the conflict, right? 1948. This is Palestinians were kicked out of their land.
So were we.
I mean, do we need to look up the occupation, the term of occupation, and the illegal defined by the illegal settlements that the Israelis have?
But I'm asking you right now.
Does Israel not have by international law? Does Israel not have illegal settlements defined by international law?
We have no
currently
in Israel,
in Palestinian land
where we are. Tel Aviv is occupied territory. Is that what you're saying? Tel Aviv. I'm asking a question.
Tel Aviv is not occupied territory. West Bank.
Okay, so we're talking about. So we are in the West Bank. So when you say occupy, because the world means occupy, Tel Aviv is what they mean. The fact that there's a Tel Aviv.
There's a difference between between my progressive train of thought versus traditional train of thought.
Traditional train of thought considers Tel Aviv an occupied territory, right?
Yeah, and again, Adam.
Okay, but we're talking about just me and you.
You're badgering a point here.
No, I'm just trying to clarify so the audience and me understand
that is the conflict. That is the.
So you're saying if we moved completely out of the West Bank and completely out of Gaza, you'd be okay?
I would be okay personally, or are you asking my people?
You. Well, I mean,
listen.
Again, I'm talking about the people now.
If I knew how we'd get there, then I'd probably be running for political office. What I want for my people is the freedom to live life. And my definition of life is to be able to come and go freely without having and have being able to go to work, being able to go to school, being able to live without fear. And I understand and I respect that your people live in fear too, and they should be able to live a happy life without. But at the end of the day, the conflict is based on the occupation that the Palestinians feel the Israelis have in Palestinian territory. That is
Gaza and West Bank. I'm clarifying.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
when you can't say Palestinian territory without when I ask you what.
But I'm going back. Yes, but I mean, Adam,
what you're talking about now or before?
This whole issue is based on the lines haven't changed from a historical argument. Okay, as far as the occupation keeps getting smaller, like bigger and bigger for the Israelis, and smaller.
That's not true.
I mean,
we gave away the Sinai Peninsula.
No, but you're taking land from you're taking people's homes every day.
That's not true. Where do you?
Oh my. Okay. All right. So
in Gaza.
Well, I mean, now we are in the West Bank, still in the West Bank.
No, Israel has specific laws about. I mean, there was a whole thing 4 or 5 years ago where settlements.
So I try not to send you all this stuff because I don't want to just flood.
Send away.
But okay, but I think this is a very good topic to specifically address next time, because it's something that is very, very important. So the what does occupied mean? I think that's a good thing for us both to look at. What does occupied mean? And again, we're trying to figure out a solution, and it's going to be.
I mean, I'm trying to get you to give me a solution.
I know,
because if you ask me what I want the Palestinians to do in our next conversation, I have a very clear, defined, easy answer. When I ask you,
well, I'll tell you this. So,
I mean, so you're in charge. This is what we can discuss next time. You're in charge of Israeli people, and without killing them, okay, without killing them and without moving them, you have to find a solution that would work for your people and for the Israelis. So figure it out, and then we can talk about it next time.
That's tough, but yeah, okay.
I mean, because I have an answer. I can tell you my answer right now, but I'm not. I'll save it for next episode.
Yeah, okay. Well, Adam, again, guys, listen. I know it gets heated, but is love, respect, and hopefully, this shows that you guys can talk about it too. And,
send us questions. So we want comments.
Yes.
If you want us to cover certain topics, we'd love that. Leave comments. We'll address them. But bring us topic conversations you want us to cover in future episodes.
And please just be respectful. I mean, no anti-Semitism, no just it's okay to be pro one side, but just tell us what you want to know, and we'll do our best to cover that. So till next time.
All right.
Thank you.
Lines in the sand.